she's just in people's ear, like she's talking so much. Like sometimes, like let me think for a second. You're not even
arguments here and there. There's the people start making sly remarks, and before you know it, the crane starts.
So it's not that she doesn't care. She definitely cares about being seen by you, that she is doing what she can. But she's not brought one idea. She's not negated anything. She's not made any executive decisions despite me literally begging her to. No, she's not a good leader.
So these housemates had their diary session yesterday. And one thing that really stood out for me was how most of them were lying blatantly, were twisting narratives just to make themselves look good. Guys, some of them peddled carefully. Others went all out to tell blatant lies. And you see, I felt insulted as a viewer because they made it seem like us, the viewers, are not really watching the show. They made it look like there aren't people that actually see what they are doing. They make it look like, if I guys just call it a gaslighting situation from some of them yesterday. It was quite offensive. I found it very, very insulting. Save for just a few of them, and majorly two people, Angel and PERE, that spoke truth to power. Most of them went to lie. And then, of course, there won't be drama or chaos without mentioning Venita's name. And of course, she was like the head prefect. She and CEECEE, they were the head prefects at the head of the lies. These people lied. And you know what I've told you all about these housemates and their diary session? I've told you all that you see that one-on-one moment that they have with the camera. They literally ride on that opportunity. They leverage on that moment to sell their narratives, to twist already existing narratives, to twist narratives that they have created for themselves, by their fellow housemates, narratives that exist in the house, the reality of what exists in the house. These people take out time during their diary session to twist a lot. They sell things that are not true. Guys, it's a lot. And that was what most of these housemates did yesterday during their diary session. And by the way, just to give you all a heads up, the diary session was mostly an evaluation of Ilebaye as a leader, as a head of house. The bickering situation that comes with wager task in the house. Guys, I watched perpetrators, instigators become popes in the diary room. You see, we're going to get into this video. I'll tell you all about it. Yesterday was a roll. For those of you following me on Twitter, I hope you had fun. If you're yet to follow me on Twitter, please go ahead and follow me on Twitter. It remains the same. Frankly speaking with Bbnaija, that's my handle. Just go ahead and follow me on Twitter. We're having fun over there. Yeah, in Ilebaye'S words, fun. We're having fun over there. But anyways, I'm going to spill on this video everything, or the summary rather, because it's a lot. So I'm going to spill the summary of everything that these housemates answered to Big Brother's questions, right? And yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts about it also. Please go ahead and share in the comment section below. And of course, I'll also share with you my perspective. So please make sure you watch to the end of this video. Do not skip out on any part so that you do not miss out, all right? And special greetings to every single one of you. You are all welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Bbnaija. This is Frankly Speaking with Bbnaija, and I am the girl with the T. For those of you that are new here, special greetings and special welcome to all of you. To those of you that are yet to subscribe to this channel to become a bona fide member of this community, please do not hesitate to do exactly what you see on your screen. Now, all of that said, let's quickly dive into the gist. As I already mentioned, the diary session was more like an evaluation session, you know, between Big Brother and the housemate about Ilebaye'S head of house reign. Yes, and I strongly believe that Big Brother had to call for that conversation to understand, you know, what exactly is going on with the housemates, because aside PERE and maybe to an extent Cross, the rest of the house has been, I don't know guys, they've been antagonizing Ilebaye'S reign. Seriously, they've been antagonizing Ilebaye's reign. There's been this passive aggression, sometimes outright aggression, and the outright aggression most of the time, has come from Mercy and Venita. And guys, Wednesday was like the last straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, we think Venita has been a mean girl all season. Guess what? Wednesday, she literally wore it as a badge of honor. Yeah, she literally owned it, and she went all out to ensure that she broke Ilebaye's spirit, that she broke Ilebaye both mentally and emotionally with her vile words. Guys, those words were vile. You can say that up to an extent, they are of the same degree with how she had actually, described DOYIN and attacked DOYIN verbally in the house. But with Ilebaye, guys, it was deep. It was deep. Now, let's begin with Angel's diary session. Angel had been the first person to admit that indeed Ilebaye was trying her best, as a head of house, and she was doing great already. However, there was also the part that most of the housemates have been very, very disrespectful towards, her title as head of house. Yes, that the disrespect is much, that the problem is not even from Ilebaye because she's doing her own part, to carry everybody along, to not step on toes, but the problem is from them, because they are the ones that are being rude to her, that are being condescending to her, that are being disrespectful to her. Unlike Angel, who had been generous enough with the truth about the real situation of the house this week, CEECEE had gone into the diary room and had done the exact opposite. Guys, I wasn't really shocked. I wasn't really surprised. However, it was something I actually expected that CEECEE would do, right? Because she had been pretending, to have Ilebaye's back all week just because, they chose her as BFF. But then the things that she said in the diary room, it was quite interesting, very interesting, because it was more like CEECEE holding a mirror and, explaining everything that she herself had been doing and claiming that it was actually Ilebaye that was doing it. Now, she first lied that Ilebaye was not doing anything in the house, that Ilebaye had not been contributing, and so therefore, Ilebaye is a terrible head of house. Now, one of the reasons she had given to buttress her point about Ilebaye being a terrible head of house is that Ilebaye talks too much. That Ilebaye is always talking and talking. Let me even see the exact words that she used. Yes, she said Ilebaye is constantly talking in their ears, not allowing them to sleep, always coming to disturb them, always reminding them to come and, work on their task. Guys, those were their complaints. What else did she say? She complained was that Ilebaye was constantly disturbing them to work on their wager. That formerly, it used to be Venita that used to bicker when our ideas are not, used during task. But this week, it is Ilebaye that is bickering. Guys, that's CEECEE's own definition of bickering. She said it's Ilebaye that is bickering, that it's Ilebaye that is making noise, that she does not like functioning in an environment where there's too much noise. Guys, CEECEE was yapping her mouth. And I was looking at this girl and I'm like, wow. Wow. I see such level of hypocrisy. The blatant lies. Let's analyze what CEECEE said. Number one, about her claims that Ilebaye had not been contributing anything to the task. Number one, that's a blatant lie, because Ilebaye contributed her idea to Adekunle's ideas, also contributed to, I think, Cross's idea at some point, and they worked on it, and Ilebaye has been working, and she's been begging the people with the ideas to, tell them in what areas they need assistance, so that the likes of her and Mercy and Angel, people that don't have things to do, will actually assist. And Ilebaye has been assisting. She's not been having enough sleep. She's been assisting. So in that regard, CEECEE told a blatant lie. And then saying that Ilebaye was talking too much, guys, it all boils down to CEECEE, Venita, Mercy, Adekunle, Soma feeling like Ilebaye was too small to direct them as the head of house. That Ilebaye was too small to lead them. That Ilebaye was not up to the level of the person that should delegate tasks to them. Hence the rebellion. Hence the reason Venita would drag her feet whenever Ilebaye called for a meeting in the lounge. Hence the reason Venita would outrightly be rude and disrespectful to Ilebaye, whenever Ilebaye was asking her to do things. I mean, guys, everything CEECEE said was a blatant lie. Ilebaye was not talking too much. All Ilebaye was doing was waking up the housemates when they should wake up, and reminding them of what they needed to do for their task preparations. CeECee's annoyance was the fact that because she loves sleeping, yes, she enjoys sleeping, she enjoys eating, Ilebaye was not giving her enough room to do all that nonsense that she would normally do. And CeECeE talking about, because blah, 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 Ilebaye is a terrible head of house. Guys, have we forgotten that CeECeE has a reputation of sabotaging people's wages if she is not on good terms with you? If she does not like you, she would work towards sabotaging your wager. The only time CeECeE ever really put in a lot of effort was when they had the fashion task and when they had the acting task, because she was given major roles as designer and as director. So CeECeE lied. But then she contradicted herself. When people had asked, what, how would she rate Ilebaye, her contribution, their contribution, and then she admitted that, that Ilebaye has been trying by, waking them up from sleep, but then she was talking too much. I'm like, CeECeE, you just disgraced yourself in the diary room. There was Adekunle. On the issue of bickering, Adekunle was so cowardly that he could not bring himself to admit that it was his girl, Venita, that was doing the most of the bickering, especially this week. Instead, he beat around the bush, talking about how it's normal, people are going to bicker, blah, blah, blah. And I was just laughing. But then, I loved the fact that he admitted that Ilebaye had been doing great in our ability to assemble all of them, to take responsibility of the task. However, where I did not agree with him was when he had said that, let me look for his own words. He had said that Ilebaye has not been leading by example because she did not behave like Omashola. Now, the explanation he gave was that, when they had the green trees and the ecosystem, whatever task, that Omashola had led by example by planting 3 trees, and then the rest of the house had followed suit. And I'm like, Adekunle, why are you such a hypocrite? Have you forgotten that in that same week, you and Venita had tried to sabotage Omashola's reign by going to sleep? By Venita constantly attacking Omashola. Why? Because she was not at the forefront of the task. Adekunle, have you forgotten that you claimed to have a running stomach that week or that particular morning, one of those mornings, and then you had gone to go and sleep? Venita had gone to join you to sleep, and then Omashola had come and beg you. So in other words, what Adekunle was saying, about Ilebaye not leading by example is the fact that Ilebaye did not come and beg he and Venita to come and join the preparations for the task. So that was what he was expecting. What a shame. What a shame. Guys, I felt bad for Adekunle because I felt like, dude, you started off well, but now you're deflecting because obviously that the problem of the wager, the problem of Ilebaye's head of house rule is the girl that you call your partner, Venita. But hypocrisy did not allow Adekunle to admit it. I was really disappointed. Or maybe not disappointed, it was quite expected that he was going to, cover up his tracks and Venita's tracks. And guess what? I'm going to come to PERE's diary session, but just to, make reference to something he said. PERE had actually gone ahead to expose Adekunle, Venita, and CEECEE, especially Adekunle and Venita. PERE had revealed that yesterday morning, Ilebaye had come to tell all of them that Big Brother, demands their bed sheets, that they should go and dress their bed or something. And Adekunle and Venita had told Ilebaye that if they go and do it, they are not going to come back to the lounge to come and join in preparing for the wager. They wanted Ilebaye to beg them. PERE said he had heard that. And he was like, what is this? And this is just outright disregard and disrespect for Ilebaye's head of house title. And that was what it was. Outright disrespect from Adekunle and Venita all week. And their constant threats to her that they are going to walk away. They're not going to do the task anymore if she talks too much. What is talking too much? Guys, these people don't even want Ilebaye to cough or even breathe. So Adekunle carried his own garb of self-righteousness, hypocrisy, went into the diary room and told blatant lies. Anyways, moving on. Now, moving on to PERE's diary session, guys. Aside Angel, PERE was also the only other person that actually gave clarity to the entire situation, even though we have been seeing it. But at least it gave me consolation that, there was also a second person inside the house that was honest enough to call a spade a spade. As I already pointed out earlier, PERE exposed the insolence from CEECEE, from Adekunle, from Venita towards Ilebaye. He admitted boldly that the house does not respect Ilebaye as head of house. And so they are doing whatever it takes to poke her. When he was asked if Ilebaye was a good head of was a good leader, he had said, oh yes, that she's actually doing her best, that she's been trying. However, she's overly cautious not to step on toes, not on everybody's toes, of course, but on certain people like Venita, like Mercy, like CEECEE, because of course, they would go all out to frustrate her, just as Venita already did on Wednesday. So he realized that Ilebaye was being extremely cautious. And then even on the question on bickering, he had pointed out Venita as the sole person that would always bicker, especially during task, if and when her ideas are not taken and put at the forefront, and if and when she's not put at the forefront of every task. And guys, that was nothing but the gospel truth. PERE exposed all of them. I say, chai! Now what? Then there was also Cross. Frankly, in my personal opinion, Cross became a hypocrite, a coward, when he was asked about the question of bickering. Guys, obviously, Venita was the person that gave Cross a tough time this week, simply because she was upset that Cross was talking to CEECEE about CEECEE's own idea. She had gone around peddling false information to the rest of the house that, the ideas that she and Cross had sat down to discuss together, that Cross was twisting her own part of the idea to infuse CEECEE's idea. So Venita had gone around lying blatantly to everybody, and Cross was fully aware of that because she had approached Cross about it. Ilebaye had approached Cross about it, and Cross had actually admitted that no, that it was only clarifying questions that CEECEE had. But when he was in the diary room yesterday, and people had asked him the question of bickering, why housemates bicker, which people bickers, he did not mention Venita's name. He was too cowardly to do so. But he had gone ahead to talk and talk and talk. In fact, his diary session was so lengthy. But when it came to the question of if Ilebaye was a good leader, he had a lot to say. He has said that she tries, but then it feels like it's the law of karma that's actually working against Ilebaye, the way she had actually behaved, during past HOH's past head of house housemates reigns, that is what she's getting right now. Even people that attested to it that, in other words, she's getting a taste of her own medicine. He said yes. And guys, I totally agree with Cross that Ilebaye was getting her own taste of a taste of our own medicine. But then I'm like, dude, you cannot overlook the fact that she's also been putting in effort to be on good terms with everybody, because he was trying so hard to emphasize on that part, but not on the good parts of Ilebaye. And guys, I found it quite pathetic, because it was also very obvious that it was the fact that Ilebaye did not give him her coins to him buying immunity that was still paying him, because he kept on emphasizing on that, do unto others what you want to be done to you. He kept on emphasizing on that. And my Cross, he paying you. Sorry, heal, brother. Heal, please. And when it was Soma's turn, Soma went into the diary room and made himself look, he ridiculed himself. That's just it. Because, ladies and gentlemen, these housemates, I feel like they kind of forget that when they do things in the house, people are watching. This guy went and lied about the situation that happened between him and Ilebaye yesterday morning. If you missed out on that situation, please check out the video. I did a video on it where Soma had lied that Ilebaye was actually talking to him in a conversation to Mercy. This guy had carried the drama on his head. He went into the diary room yesterday and lied about it. He said Ilebaye was making some comments and he felt the need to respond to her, that Ilebaye was rude and disrespectful, that the tone of her voice, she was like, Soma, I wasn't talking to you. I'm like, Soma, you're such a bloody, ridiculous, pathetic liar. Ilebaye's tone of voice was polite. Her tone of voice was soft. And it was because her tone of voice was soft and she was, of course, feeling miserable, Mercy had started accusing her of playing the victim. Knowing fully well that Ilebaye was not referring to Soma, Mercy just literally transferred unnecessary aggression towards Ilebaye. Of course, probably trying to bring back a Tacha and Mercy situation, because Mercy obviously wanted to get a reaction from Ilebaye. Hence the reason she was enjoying all the nonsense that Venita was doing to Ilebaye on Wednesday. Because when Venita was insulting Ilebaye, calling her all sorts of names, Mercy did not say shit. Okay, first, she actually consoled Ilebaye. But then when Ilebaye had gone upstairs, she had joined Ilebaye in the head of house lounge. There was Mercy as well, and there was CEECEE as well. And that was the night that Venita had chosen to bake cakes for the first time in 9 weeks. And then Venita would say all the trash and crap she wanted to say, and Mercy would look at her and smile, and then act like she did not hear anything and continue her conversation with Ilebaye. Just outrightly exaggerated Ilebaye's reaction to that situation. And I'm like, thank God I watched it for myself. Oh, if I did not watch it, Soma would have convinced me. So I'm glad I watched it for myself. And another thing again he did was how cowardly he was, into admitting that his girlfriend, Angel, had not been contributing to the task. Angel had been lying and pretending that she was sick. But when she wants to kiss, when she wants to carry bomb and boobs to rob Soma, sickness will leave her. When she wants to create shipping content, she will be healed. Hypocrites everywhere. And Soma really disappointed me yesterday, because he also overlooked the fact that Venita was also the one that was constantly bickering the entire week over the task, which at some point he had been defending Cross, of course, behind Venita's back. Hypocrites, once again. And then Mercy, at least, had been honest enough to, admit that Ilebaye was a good head of house when Big Brother had asked her. But then she had not taken accountability for her actions. She had just generalized and said, Big Brother, ukware. But she had not admitted that she transferred aggression to Ilebaye, accused Ilebaye falsely, and unnecessarily attacked that girl verbally. Hypocrites again. And then there was Venita. Hey! Lord have mercy. Ladies and gentlemen, just as expected, Venita went into that diary room and lied and accused Ilebaye wrongly and falsely, said all manner of trash. In fact, let's begin with the things that she had actually said. When Big Brother had asked her if Ilebaye was a good leader, she had said that Ilebaye was just present but not engaged. In other words, yes, Ilebaye would come and wake them up, not allow them to sleep, eat, or shower, but Ilebaye was not doing anything. That Ilebaye was not pulling her weight, that Ilebaye was not contributing, that Ilebaye was not delegating. And I'm like, Venita, whose fault is it that Venita is not delegating? When people like you have become a bone in her neck, when people like you outrightly defy the orders of the head of house, when people like you defy Big Brother's instructions, all in the name of, oh, do you know who I am? I am a Nollywood actor. When people like you make it so difficult for this girl to lead, you're coming here to come and yap your mouth and say, oh, she did not delegate. That makes her not to be a good leader. What else did she say? She said that, oh, Ilebaye did not apply herself, or doesn't apply herself, doesn't contribute to a task. I'm like, Venita, that's a blatant lie from the pit of hell from your mouth, actually. Now, here was the juicy part. After saying no manner of trash about Ilebaye's head of house rule and all whatnot, she now started crying. Her usual classic act. She started crying and talking about how she feels so bad, that the mood in the house is so bad, that this week has shown how people's hypocrisy have peeled off, that people have been fake to her, blah, blah, blah. Guys, I don't even know who she was referring to, but it was obvious that she was referring to PERE. She talked about, oh, PERE has been carrying a weird energy all week. I said, which PERE? She said, oh, PERE has been complaining about his ideas not being taken. He's been putting people aside to talk about it. I said, which PERE? Is it the PERE that is constantly at the dining table working on the wager? Is it the same PERE? I said, Venita, is it not you that have been disrupting activities in the house? Is it not you that have been causing commotion, chaos in the house? Which PERE, please? Which PERE? So she went on and she was crying. And I love the fact that Big Brother decided to drill her, because she was claiming that people were no longer nice, that the mood of the house had been whack, blah, blah, blah. Big Brother asked her that, what is your contribution to the mood of the house? She started deflecting. She was like, big, looking like a lost Little Red Riding Hood. See, all that was needed in that diary session yesterday was for us to give Venita a red hoodie to wear. Biggie, I want to, you know. Let us hear what. Being all melodramatic all the damn time. Getting on my nerves. Really getting on my nerves. I mean, guys, I could tell that even Big Brother was exasperated. And then she was talking about kindness and blah, blah, blah. People are not nice. And people had to ask her, have you always been kind? And she was like, I know I am not kind when I am sad. I know I am unkind when I am upset. I know I am unkind when I have been disrespected. Guys, I had to complete it for Venita. I said, Venita, you have always been unkind. I can count the number of times Venita has been kind this season. You see, when Soma had his panic attack, that was the first time I saw Venita genuinely kind to someone. That was the first time. Even to her cousin New, Venita was never kind. Venita is constantly unkind, unprovoked. And she was claiming that, oh, she's unkind when she's sad, when she's upset, when she's angry, when she feels disrespected. I said, no, Venita, unkindness is your second name. You are a mean girl. You've proven to be a mean girl. DOYIN was not lying. We saw it. We saw it. Us, the viewers, we saw it. And that is how you've portrayed yourself for the past 9 weeks. And when she had accused people of being two-faced, pretentious, fake and all whatnot towards her, Biggie had asked her that has she asked those people why they are that way to her? She did not have a direct response to that question because she already knows the answer. Listen, guys, to cut the long story short, Venita's diary session was just a classic act to me, as usual. Every time Venita steps into the diary room, she is that one housemate that would literally twist all the narratives in the house just to paint herself either the victim or the saint. And sometimes it gets draining. So yesterday's one was quite draining. And I was really happy that Biggie, as usual, did the Lord's work by fetching her out of her lies, by exposing her lies, by exposing her hypocrisy. Yeah, that was the highlight for me. Now moving on to Ilebaye'S diary session, which was the last diary session of yesterday. Ilebaye'S diary session was quite emotional, even from the beginning. You could tell that this girl had a lot bottled up. You could tell that this girl walked into that diary room with a broken spirit. You see that threat a.k.a. made that, oh, he's going to break her mentally. Venita successfully did it this week before all of her vile insults. Ilebaye was weak. All the questions Big Brother was asking her, she was just like, Big Brother, I don't know. And you could tell that her mind was pure towards Venita because she literally avoided talking about Venita. She did not want to talk about it. All the questions Big Brother was asking her, she did not want to talk about it. It was Biggie that kept on pushing and pressing and encouraging her to talk. Ilebaye did not want to talk about it. For her, she did not want to create a negative perception about Venita. But Big Brother just kept on pressing. And then Big Brother now asked her, what happened between you and Venita? She now said everything. I've done a video about it, guys, so there's no point going into the details anymore. But she said it. But while she was speaking, she could not hold back the tears. She was shivering, like she was trying to breathe. She could not breathe. Ilebaye is no saint, don't get me wrong. Ilebaye has had weeks where you just want her out of the house. Ilebaye has had weeks where we've come down hard on her. But what we're not going to do this week is to point fingers at Ilebaye when none should be pointed. Yeah, because we've seen her be on her best behavior this week. We've seen her try to make amends. We've seen her select 4 BFFs to make amends with. But guess what? It turned out to backfire. But I'm going to explain that phenomenon because for me it's a phenomenon, right? We're going to explain that. So Ilebaye had explained to Big Brother everything that transpired between herself and Venita. And I loved the fact that Big Brother had encouraged her, because you see those words that Venita said. Oh, you are dumb, you are empty, you are bereft of ideas, you don't know anything, blah, blah, blah. Those words cut deep. According to Ilebaye, they made her feel useless. They made her feel like nothing. They made her feel empty. They made her feel like she amounted to nothing. Big Brother had to remind her that Ilebaye, how did you win the what's it called now? The what's that task? That super commando. How did you win the super commando task? She said it was via mathematics. Big Brother said, was it easy? She said no. And Biggie asked her, how did you win the head of house this week? She said it was all by herself. Biggie said, okay, continue. Like Big Brother was just reminding her of her mental and physical strength. Guys, that made me happy. And Ilebaye said all of Venita's insults completely reminded her of how people labeled her back then when she was still in school. Because we know that her father is a politician, right? So people used to insult her and say that, oh, everything she is because of her father's influence. And according to her, she's constantly trying to prove herself to be beyond her father's influence. So Big Brother had to remind her that everything you've achieved in this house, is it because of your father? She had to say no. So Big Brother had to give her that motivation. That listen, words are just words. No matter what people say, if the shoe does not fit, then do not ever attempt to wear it. I say, preach, Big Brother. Biggie encouraged Ilebaye, and it made me glad, because those were the words that Ilebaye needed to hear at that point in time. Because there was this question that Biggie was asking all the housemates that, oh, if they won the wager task, what do they want? What treat do they want? And if they fail it, what should he do to them? And Ilebaye had requested that Big Brother should lock all the housemates in one room and then put her in a separate room and then tell her words of encouragement, tell her words that will make her blush, words that will make her smile, words that will make her feel good about herself, because her spirit was broken, her spirit was down. So I loved the fact that Big Brother actually encouraged her. You know, Biggie encouraged her. Biggie, oh God, guys, it was quite emotional. It was really emotional. And a lot of people, you know, the fanatics, they went onto social media to say that Ilebaye was crying pity tears. I said, when you people have sold your soul to the devil, when people have sold your souls to a cultic following where you have now become bereft of reasoning, when you have now become bereft of sense, or even the sense of morality, the sense of knowing you're right from your wrong, all in the name of my faith is always right. How would you recognize real tears? And how can you differentiate between real tears and fake tears? I can categorically tell you all that Venita's tears were fake. Ilebaye's tears were real. Venita was crying because she knew that she had messed up seriously. And so she needed a way out. She needed a way to convince people that, oh, she had valid reasons for being terrible the way she had been all week. Towards not just Ilebaye, but to one or two other persons. Hence the tears. But you could tell that Ilebaye's own tears were genuine. Argue with your key part, you fanatics. Argue with your key part. But you know what? This is where I'm going to stop talking, all right? I would love to hear from all of you, all right? Just go ahead. Let me know your thoughts about the diary session of these housemates. Which one really pissed you off? Which one really made you happy? Which one was your highlight, all right? Just go ahead and share in the comment section below. I'll see you guys on another episode of Frankly Speaking with Gloria Elijah. Have an amazing day. Bye.